Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another review. This time around, we're here to review Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, brought to you by Atari and developed by Digital Eclipse. So, it is strange to say this game was brought to you by someone else outside of NetherRealm Studios, or if we were to really get old school, Midway, or really old school, Williams Entertainment. But, which, by the way, had an office at Corsicana, Texas. Shout out to Williams Entertainment. But either way. So, this is a definitive collection in the definition of the word. So, I knew that this game was coming about. I was excited for this game. I couldn't wait to see what was going to be offered in this game. So, I kind of stayed away from some of the trailers and stuff like that. And then I was offered a review code, of course. And after putting in so many hours, I cannot even explain to you guys. This is one of my favorite collections of a video game series that has ever been released. And when I say that, I really do mean it. Okay, so like, first and foremost, there's a total of the best way of explaining it. Okay, best way of explaining it is there's multiple games on this game. Okay, here's it in layman's terms. There's 5 main Mortal Kombats that are on this game, and there are 6 sub Mortal Kombats that are on this game that were full releases of games, but were like Game Boy Advance versions or, PlayStation releases or whatever. But the big main 5, of course, were Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and then, of course, Mortal Kombat 4. And then later on, we got reiterations of this game and a few times, I would say. We got Mortal Kombat Advance on the Game Boy Advance. We got Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance that came out on the Game Boy Advance. We also got Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition that came out in 2003 on the Game Boy Advance. We also got PlayStation versions of the game. We got the trilogy. That was a really great trilogy that came out on PlayStation back in 1996. Then we also have Mortal Kombat Mythologies, which was the Sub-Zero game that came out in 1997 on PlayStation. And then Mortal Kombat Special Forces, which was kind of more or less like it was like a Mortal Kombat made a version of Metal Gear Solid. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. It was like an action kind of over the top, camera style. And, I mean, it was fun. It was a fun game when it first came out, but it's great to see it revitalized. So, the big thing about this is that there are multiple versions of the games that are on this collection. So you have Mortal Kombat 1 that came out in 1992, and you get the arcade version, the Super Nintendo version, the Genesis version, Game Boy version, and the Game Gear version. And this is like this with multiple different versions of the games. Now, you're not going to get every version. Like you won't get a Game Gear version of Mortal Kombat 2 because it was originally launching on the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the Game Boy, and the Sega 32X. Which was a more powerful console at the time. Now, the Game Gear was a mobile console. It was, if you don't know what the Game Gear is, I don't even know what to say to you. Just look it up. The Sega Game Gear, okay? It was a really ahead of its time handheld video game device that really took on the Game Boy. I mean, when I say head to head, it really took it on. And then, of course, with Mortal Kombat 3, you had the Arcade Edition, the Super Nintendo Edition, and then the Genesis Edition. Then you had Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which I think is one of the best Mortal Kombats ever released. It came out on arcade, NetWave Arcade, and Super Nintendo. And then you have Mortal Kombat 4, which was exclusive to arcade in 1997. So, with that said, moving into what you can do in this game, it's really crazy. So you could tune the games first off, and I want to talk about that. So you could tune the games. When I say tune the games, you can actually change the visual aspects of the games. You can change on certain versions of Mortal Kombat. You can even change the rendering and how the game actually looks. So the enhancements, like I said, You could change the visual fidelity. You could change the overlay to make it look like it's in an arcade, or it's in its handheld, or it's on Super Nintendo on an old tube TV with these different filters on there to make it look old. Or you can stretch it out to widescreen. You can change all different types of stuff with it. But Mortal Kombat 4 is a little bit more special because in Mortal Kombat 4, you can also change the visual fidelity in the sense of the rendering scale. So you can render the game up to 4 times, and it really does change the visuals. It makes it a lot more smooth, better graphical presentation, which there's not a lot of games out there that have this much with so it's baffling to me. It's really crazy because yes, you could do the rendering to all these different games. You could play 4 different versions of one individual game on multiple different consoles. You could change, as I said, a lot about the game from the menu settings. You could change the difficulty, the violence, the blood, if there's going to be a timer on. Depending on the game that you choose, you could actually change to play as secret characters like Goro or Smoke or Meat. You can change it to where they have alternate outfits and stuff on. So it's a really big, heavy, customizable game. You can also change it to where you have cheat codes available. You can have, like in the game, there were certain areas in Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat Ultimate or Mortal Kombat 2 that were like secret areas. They make it a little bit easier for you to access those areas by enabling these cheats. And there's all kinds of stuff. There's a rewind mode on the game now. So if you're like playing in the hardest setting, you don't have to start the match all the way over again. You can just rewind the match. But let's get into something a little bit bigger about this. So there is a huge amount of content on this if you are a Mortal Kombat fan, because there is an interactive documentary on the game. And when I say it is a full interactive documentary, I mean, it really is, bro. Like, it is beyond crazy to me that this is something that is in this game. There's 5 narrative timelines that you can go down with really rare footage that a lot of times it's kind of hard to see in good quality on the internet. There's design documentation, there's concept art, there's historic material for the franchise, there's all different types of stuff. There's also a combatant history and lore section in the game, so where you can learn more about the characters and where they came about, how they were designed, the visuals or the videos that you get to see in this game to where they go behind the scenes into this are really great. We saw some really great content creators on there. We also saw some really pivotal people in the history of the Mortal Kombat franchise that made it what it is. And then, of course, they have tons of different stuff post-launch. They have, oh, wait, I'm sorry, cut it. I also forgot to say is not only do they have all this other stuff, but they have a easy accessible versus mode in the game. So you don't have to actually click on the individual game. You can go from the menu and set it all up to where it's like player 1, player 2. You could choose out their characters from that menu, the stage, what type of like combatant codes you're going to have on there. You can have ultimate round timers, and then you could literally just click fight and you're able to start the fight right at the character select screen. Crazy. I've never seen a game do something like that before that has such easy accessibility, and it's got an online mode. Online matches are supported by rollback netcode, so participants are ensured for a fair game. Quick matches are available at launch, and a robust online arcade mode arriving soon after launch. So that's one of the post-launch contents that they have. They have a Chronicle of the Realms coming, which is an illustrated guide to the lores and narratives of the series. They have improvements based on players, of course, but the online arcade aspect is going to give you even more accessibility because it's going to give players the abilities of starting lobbies and spectating other players as they fight. I'm tripping. It's the best. This is the best collection of re-release collection I have ever seen. It is the best collection of a fighting game on the market. And it's one that everybody needs to own. Mortal Kombat Legacy. It is only $49.99. $49.99. And you get a total of 23 different versions of games that are all based on Mortal Kombat. You get tons of different aspects of games in here as well. Mortal Kombat has been extremely well. Mortal Kombat 4 has been really heavily emulated in that sense. And one of the biggest things that I love about it is, like, I always really wanted to get into Mortal Kombat 4, but the fact that it was on an arcade, every once in a while when I would try to play it on some of these, other emulation softwares or something, it just sucks. I've never been able to do emulation good ever. So I just stay away from it. And it's always eaten away at me that I was never able to play 4 the way that I wanted to, because it was a damn good Mortal Kombat game. And now it's like extremely well done. Once you get to the point of being done with the Mortal Kombat fighting games, you can jump easily into Sub-Zero, Mythologies, Sub-Zero, and Mortal Kombat Special Forces, which actually give you the rewind feature in the game, and also give you the ability of changing the difficulty in the game, saving the game anywhere you want instead of having to do it at designated points, which was one of the biggest things that was irritating on the PlayStation, is that there's times that you can only save the game at certain points instead of just being able to click pause and then save. It was killer. It really was. You guys don't know. There's also a training mode on the freaking game. You can train in any one of the Mortal Kombat games. It's nuts to me that this is even a thing. Honestly, I've been playing it so much. I can't tell you guys. I'm on it every day. I'm watching these videos, looking at the lore, looking at the characters, looking at the early concept art, jumping back into the game, playing it with different filters on. It's easily one of the biggest games of the year, and easily one of the only games that you need to have on your holiday gift list. So I'm just telling you guys, I'm baffled by this. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Check it out for yourself. If you're a big Mortal Kombat fan, you will love everything about this collection. Big shout outs to Atari, big shout outs to Digital Eclipse, and of course shout outs to the OGs, the creators of Mortal Kombat. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace out.